you're getting ready to send your child off to preschool or kindergarten for the first time, there are some things you can implement to make this big transition much easier for both you and your child. After being a preschool and kindergarten teacher for over 12 years, I've seen what has best prepared families for starting school. And spoiler alert, it has nothing to do with learning ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. In this video, I'm sharing 12 things you can do as a parent to make sure your child enters school feeling confident, excited, and ready to learn. So if you're looking for practical, tried and tested ways to make your life as a parent easier and this transition smoother for your little one, you won't want to miss this. The first thing you want to do is foster a love of learning in your home that nurtures your child's curiosity. An important thing to remember here is that young children are natural learners. At this age, they pick up so much just by being in their environment and having the opportunity to explore. So you want to set the stage for your child to love learning. This could be as simple as reading books together, exploring nature, or engaging in hands-on activities like painting or building blocks, or other age-appropriate activities that support their development, which we'll talk more about in a bit. When learning becomes a fun and shared experience, your child will look forward to school as a place of discovery and exploration. The next thing you want to do is encourage social skills. For many kids starting preschool or kindergarten, this is their first experience being in a group of other children for an extended period of time. Play dates, family gatherings, or community events can be great opportunities for your child to interact with peers. These experiences can help them understand how to respect and interact with others, which will be valuable tools for when they enter the classroom. I cannot stress this next one enough. Establish a consistent routine. Implementing a daily routine in your home, such as a consistent bedtime, mealtime, and playtime, can help your child adjust to the structured environment of school. Sleep plays a huge role in this too. A lot of parents don't realize the importance that a consistent bedtime has on their child's brain development or even their behavior and their mood. If your child's going to bed later than you'd like or your schedule is just plain crazy, I get it. Trust me. Bedtime is a huge struggle with my older son, and he will do anything to try and put it off. But try as much as possible to get your child going to bed and waking up at the same time each day so that they're ready for the transition of school. As I said, this can affect their behavior and their cognitive ability, so it's really important. Another thing that will greatly benefit your child is encouraging their independence and having them practice doing things independently at home. Depending on your child's age, school, class size, student to teacher ratio, and some other factors, they will most likely need to be more independent than they have to be at home. So practice things like opening food items, eating lunch in a timely manner, going to the bathroom by themselves, and washing their hands. It's also a great idea to check in with the school beforehand and see what their expectations are for what your child should be able to do on their own. Helping your child to develop their emotional intelligence will greatly benefit them at school and in life. Emotional intelligence is your ability to recognize, understand, and manage your emotions and the emotions of others. There are a lot of big feelings that come with starting something new, so it will benefit your child to be able to put a name to and better understand the big feelings that they experience with starting school. Not only that, but like I said before, this may be the first time that they are consistently around a large group of kids. So having strong emotional intelligence skills will help them navigate new relationships. To help facilitate this, you'll want to talk about feelings openly and teach your child words to express their emotions. This will equip your child to handle their feelings better and empathize with others, making their transition to school smoother. A great tool for this is a calming corner. This has been our #1 tool for teaching our toddler and preschooler about emotions. If you're wondering what the heck a calming corner is, I have a whole video on the benefits of using one with young kids, so definitely go check that out. but not until you finish this one. I'll leave a link in the description box for that. I also made these emotions flashcards that we'll use to talk about and identify different emotions, as well as play some games. I have both real photos and illustrations in the pack, so I will leave a link in the description box for those as well if you'd like to grab them. Make every effort to try and visit your child's school with them and meet their teachers before school starts. This can be really helpful for easing anxiety on the first day if your child meets their teacher and sees their classroom prior to that. A lot of schools will offer some sort of orientation, which I highly recommend attending, because not only can you tour the school and meet the teachers, but you'll also be able to meet other families prior to starting school. When I was in kindergarten, we actually had a bus orientation where the bus picked us up with our parents and drove us to the school, which was amazing because I met a girl on the bus who became my best friend, and we got to sit together on the bus for the first day of school. So being able to have those kinds of experiences prior to school is really beneficial for easing nerves and anxiety in kids. If your school doesn't offer an orientation, try and arrange a meeting prior to your child starting. The next one is a big one. It's no secret that when your child goes to school for the first time, they'll be around a bunch of new faces and new behaviors. I recommend talking to your child about their ability to make their own choices before they go to school. You can explain that sometimes they may see kids doing something different than they do at home, but make sure they know that they always have the power to make their own choices, and that just because someone else is doing something doesn't mean that they should. As a side note, be aware that your child may come home at times exhibiting some behavior that they may have seen at school. This is very common and developmentally appropriate for young kids as they're experiencing new people and situations. If this happens, try to steer clear of shaming or punishing. Instead, get curious and ask open-ended questions to find out more about where they saw that behavior or why they may be acting that way. You can also explain your family values and how you don't do that in your family, and then always model the behavior that you do want to see from your child. If you've been around here for a while, you probably know what a huge play enthusiast I am. Play is so important to a child's development and a great way to prepare them for school. This is how they learn, how they think, how they communicate. It's all done best through play. It sounds so simple, but I promise you they are doing so much more than just playing. So provide them tons of opportunities for uninterrupted, child-directed free play. Unfortunately, play is something that has been disappearing more and more from school settings the younger children get. This isn't the case with all schools, but a lot of them, especially in the United States. Once they start school, be sure to build in plenty of time afterward for free play. This can be very therapeutic and act as a form of stress relief for them. If you're interested in learning more about the benefits of play for your child, I will leave a link to some of my other videos in the description box beneath this video. Another thing you'll want to do is talk to your child about what school will be like and be enthusiastic about it. To help with this, you can do things like read books about starting school or watch some shows. Daniel Tiger is definitely a favorite show of ours, and there are some really good episodes about starting school and navigating school situations. When it comes to books, I'll try and link some of our favorites down below. You'll want to ask your child if they have any questions about school and answer them. Keep in mind that there may be some fear or anxiety popping up as your child gets closer and closer to going to school for the first time, and this may be hard for your child to articulate, so make sure to be empathetic and supportive of them. This can look like validating their emotions. You seem a little nervous about going to school. I know it can be a little scary doing something new. I was nervous too before I went to school for the first time. This will help your child feel seen and heard. Answering their questions about school will also give them a better idea of what to expect. It is possible that your child's fear may come out in the form of misbehavior, so knowing this will help you address the situation. If you need more help decoding your young child's behavior, then I have a video that will definitely help with that too. As parents, when we're home with our kids, it could be really easy for them to get help when it's needed. A lot of parents don't realize that their kids have a hard time knowing when or how to ask for help from a teacher. This is something I experienced a lot as a teacher when kids were first starting out, especially kids who tend to be on the quieter side. So make sure to explain when they should ask for help from a trusted adult at school. Teachers try their best to keep on top of recognizing this, but depending on how many kids there are in a class, this can be be extremely difficult for a teacher to recognize at all times, especially if they're the only adult in the classroom. Rewinding a bit, back to my first tip, one way you can foster a love of learning is by encouraging your child to take part in activities that will foster their development. In order for your child to do things successfully in school, like write or use scissors, they first have to have the muscles built up in their hands and fingers. Activities that help with fine motor development will help make these things easier for your child once they start school. So I always encourage parents to focus on activities that will strengthen these skills rather than practicing the skills themselves, such as cutting or writing. Because if you're doing this before you've built up those muscles, this can lead to major frustration and difficulty. I have tons of low prep developmental activities for kids on my channel that will help facilitate growth in all areas of development and help your child acquire a love for learning. Okay, this is a bonus tip, and this one is slightly academic. If your child can recognize his or her name by sight, that can be really, really helpful, especially in the beginning of the school year. There are a lot of kids who have never done this school thing before, and usually only one or two teachers to help them all in a class. So being able to recognize their name when it's labeled on everything can be very helpful. If you need some activities to help your child practice name recognition, I have a whole video on that you're going to want to check out after this. Give this video a like before you go if it helped you feel better about preparing your child for school. And be sure to subscribe for more tips to make life with littles easier. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next time.